The family of a street vendor, Boniface Kariuki, has confirmed his death after he was shot by police during protest. His killing has reignited anger over police violence as Kenya faces fresh unrest. Kariuki was shot in the head while appearing to be a bystander during demonstrations over the death of blogger Albert Ojwang in police custody. Now, news that he was brain dead had sparked further public anger over alleged police brutality, with increasing demands for justice. Many Kenyans have also urged the government to settle the hospital bill of Kariuki's family and also appealed for public donations. Two police officers Now, Marima Wako-Ojiwa is a Kenyan political analyst, executive director of Siasa Place, who joins us from Nairobi in Kenya. You're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. How would you describe the current public sentiment in Kenya currently following the police shooting of the vendor?
At the moment, the public still feels devastated. Remember, he was on life support for 2 weeks. We all witnessed it being covered live because there was a lot of media that was present when the shooting occurred. A lot of people have been praying for him to survive. And over days, we've just been hearing the news get worse and worse as they announce his critical condition for him to pass now more recently. So it's very, very somber. A lot of people are very angry, and the officer who was caught on video for shooting him is back to his social media. He's actually been posting on TikTok and basically asking for the Kenyan people to forgive him for making that mistake. Yet Kenyans want answers. They want to see people being held accountable for innocent people being shot by the police and being killed. So I would not say we're not in a good mood, not at all.
Not at all, it wouldn't be. Now, do you think that this event has potential to escalate tensions between civilians and law enforcement in Kenya?
Absolutely. I believe that the Cabinet Secretary for Health wrote a statement where he talked about waiving the bill, the hospital bill that had garnered because of Kariuki being under critical condition. And there was a post that was put up by Hanifa, who's also a journalist and an activist, where she said that actually all of the bills have been waived by, the hospital in terms of people who have been shot by the police during the protests. And Kariuki was the only one that was shot on that week of 18th of June. And basically saying that's not going to solve our problems. That's not going to solve the issue. So I do think that they are trying to show that they are doing much more. But what we're seeing is that they are not doing enough. It's still very little and it's still happening very slowly. There needs to be people who are resigning. There need to be people who are fired. Remember that these are cases that are currently ongoing. You mentioned Ojwang earlier, who was murdered in police cells, and that case is still ongoing. We had, the DIG basically step aside rather than resign fully. And these are the concerns that a lot of citizens are having at the moment.
Marima, I was going to ask you about public trust in the police, in the Kenyan police, but you also mentioned a couple of instances, and John, like I mentioned from before. And over the past many years, there have been many instances where police are involved. Can you give us an idea exactly of what the public-police relationship is like in Kenya?
The relationship with the police has been tense, especially when you're talking about young people. Remember, most of our countries, most of the population is below the age of 20 years old. So there's a sense of harassment where even when you go and get your ID, we've had complaints from young people, because I work for a youth organization, where they're afraid to go pick up their identity cards because some of them are based in chiefs camps or some of them are based in police camps. So the tension is real because of even something like loitering in CBD in Nairobi used to be something that you could be arrested for. So you could imagine now seeing after the protests last year, we lost more than 60 young people in those protests, and those are the ones we know of. There's still a number of people who went missing, over 20 of them. There's still abductions. Even today, we've learned of 4 young people who've been picked up. And so all of our social media we're afraid of the police. And we've not even talked about the kind of corruption that we see even with the traffic police themselves. It's something that is very, very common. And a lot of young people do feel harassed. So as this continues, because the protests are not going to stop, a lot of young people, they become even angrier when they see that there's no action that's being taken. They become even angrier when they see some of the statements that were made by the Cabinet Secretary to Interior, where he basically said that they will support the police fully and truly, and then calling protesters terrorists and saying that these people were attempting a coup. So they're using the wrong language. They're using the wrong methods in terms of interacting with an already tense and angered young population. I could only see it get worse if they continue with the same tactics.
All right, Narima, thank you very much. And indeed, we do hope that there is justice for Kariuki. Thank you very much, Narima.